everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Nwabi, and if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not leave without pressing that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. If you're not new to my channel, thank you so much for coming back, and let's get into this video. It is a Beauty and the Binge video where I talk about whatever TV show or movie that I'm currently watching whilst I'm doing a makeup look inspired by that TV show or movie. So let's get into it. Today's Beauty and the Binge is Good Trouble, which is a freeform / Hulu TV show that I discovered last year during the time where I was just watching new TV shows that I've never watched before. So Good Trouble is a spin-off show from the show The Fosters, and it focuses on two main characters of The Fosters, which is Mariana and Kelly. You don't have to watch The Fosters to understand what's going on in Good Trouble because it's a brand new cast. It's a totally different show from The Fosters. It just has some episodes where it includes the Foster family, and they come as guest cast, but other than that, you really don't need to watch The Fosters in order to understand Good Trouble. So let's get into this and let's binge. So first things first, I am going to break the show down, and then I'm going to get into some of the characters, the relationships, and then finally I am going to give a final review and what I think about the show. And I'm going to note everything that I've thought of with regards to this show because this is a show that I think you should be watching. So we start off the show with Kelly and Mariana. They are sisters, but they are not biological sisters. They're foster sisters because they grew up together in the same foster family / getting adopted after being fostered by their mothers. So they've got lesbian mothers, and that is basically the synopsis of The Fosters. So we follow Kelly and Mariana when they're coming back from college, and they are going to start their life in downtown in Los Angeles, where they start their careers basically. So the show is basically about the 20s and up and coming and navigating life, navigating your career, navigating relationships in your 20s. And what I love about this, it's really not a original synopsis. We've got a lot of shows where it's basically people who are navigating their lives, but what I like about this is that it's just different in a sense of the cast. You are in your 20s, you're navigating life, you just come out of college, and it's basically a coming of age, dealing with life stuff and going through life stuff and basically like navigating your way around it. And especially considering how many shows that are catered for the young demographic that are around, it's mostly over-sexualized high schoolers. I'm thinking your Riverdales, I'm thinking of Euphorias. I feel like, you could have coming of age stories for non-high schoolers. And why, like, I enjoyed Euphoria like everyone else, but why couldn't they have been in college, for example? Like, college students go through depression, go through addiction, go through all the stuff that was going through in Euphoria. But anyway, this is about Mariana and Kelly, who are in their 20s and they're navigating life, and it shows us basically them moving to LA and how they joined this communal living space called the Coterie. The Coterie is a communal living space where they are going to be staying, and they're only staying there because Mariana heard about the place from this guy she met at her interview at work, and it's a guy that she kind of likes. One thing also you notice with Mariana and Kelly in the show, bayawathanda amadoda. And what are the 20s if not for ukuthanda amadoda, to love men, women, whomever you dally with romantically and sexually. Like, that's basically what your 20s are about. It's navigating that space, it's navigating dating, it's navigating relationships. It's like not tying you down, but at the same time trying to find your place in the world, basically. So that is exactly what Good Trouble is about. And we get introduced to some of the characters in the coterie when they arrive at the coterie. So they learn that the coterie is actually it's a communal living space where a lot of people live in their own specific lofts, but then they share the bathroom and they share the communal living areas. So basically in the scene, we get introduced to everyone, but we don't even know whom everyone is, and we don't know their vibe or whatever they are to the story. We just get introduced to the dynamics of the coterie. So one thing I like about this show, it's an ensemble show. So as much as Kelly and Mariana are the main characters, they are the main characters of a bigger cast. So they are the regulars who basically show on every episode, and then there's a supporting cast who show in every now and then episode. So the main cast is basically people who stay in the coterie, and there's gonna be a scene here which I'm gonna show that is gonna be showing us and breaking down who each person is in the coterie, like the main people who stay in the coterie. They are now going to work. So Mariana has got a job in a upcoming tech company. She went to MIT and studied artificial intelligence, I think, but she focused on artificial intelligence, but she's basically in the tech industry. And Ukali studied law, so yeah, now she's going to be clerking for a judge. So we are shown Mariana and Kelly going to work, and on being shown Mariana and Kelly going to work, we meet Gayal. Gayal is the guy that Mariana was talking about that told her about the coterie. And Gayal is the guy Mariana was saying is gonna be her future boyfriend slash smash-a-doodle-doo. Little did we know that Kelly, in the first night of moving in, went and smashed Gayal up in there. She was in the sheets with Gayal. But anyway, Kelly Mariana, they go to work. Mariana and Kelly, we get shown Mariana and Kelly getting introduced to their workspace, and it's like a parallel of Mariana arriving at her work and Kelly arriving at the judgeship where she's going to be clerking. And this is when we're introduced to Mariana's first look into the sexism in the tech world. We get the scene where this guy that works with Mariana asks if she's really an engineer.
For real? You're an engineer?
Yes. I just graduated from MIT, where my main focus was artificial intelligence and machine building.
Cool.
Okay, well, we'll get you started on some data entry.
And then also we get this coupled with this scene where Mariana is being advised by another girl who's also Latinx. So Mariana is a Latina woman. She's being advised by another girl who's Latina, who's also working at this new tech company, and she advises Mariana that, you know, in order to go forward in this industry, it would be better if she's not dressed the way she is. So
Pick your brain sometime. Ask for advice.
Sure. First piece of advice? It's annoying, but you'll be taken more seriously if you don't dress like that.
I'm really confused, because what's that got to do with anything? I mean, like, do I have to look like a tomboy in order for me to succeed in the tech world? It's that kind of dynamic, and it's that kind of situation. On the flip side of life, Ukaliana is working for a conservative judge. Kelly is liberal, and she thinks that working for a conservative judge, she can influence the judge in his judgments in a way. Like, I think clerking, what happens in clerking is you present arguments to the judge whenever there's a case that you're clerking with the judge. So the judge is overseeing his cases, and you look into that case and you look into the law system of America, where you give your opinion, you give arguments on how you can argue this point from this lawyer, how you can think. So you give like direction. You don't tell the judge what to say or what to give in his adjudication. However, you give some sort of direction or some sort of, how he could argue going with the decision that he made. So that's basically clerking. So Kelly is navigating that arena, and that's going to be important in the future of the season. That scene of them going to work, they work and then they go back home to the coterie, where now we are introduced to the main characters of the show, and we're introduced to the main members of the coterie, or the main housemates of the coterie that are the recurring cast of the series. So we get introduced to Malika. Malika is an activist. She's a dark-skinned black woman who is an activist and in fighting for justice, especially for black lives. And this is a very crucial and important element in her story, because as much as the series is focused on Kelly and Mariana, it also focuses on side stories of the main cast. So Malika's activism is very important in her story, because Kelly gets a case that's got to do with Malika. We get introduced to Alice, who is the manager of the coterie, and she is Asian, and she is an up-and-coming comedian. She does stand-up comedy, and she does like funny sketches on Instagram, and she's basically trying to navigate the comedic space as an Asian woman. And this is also important in her story, because Alice is also lesbian, and she also like needs to that's also a crucial element of her story, because she hasn't come out to her parents, and she navigates her relationship with being a not out of the closet lesbian to her parents, but she's out to everyone else in her life other than her parents. Then we meet Dennis, who is a guy who quit his corporate job to just like focus on music and acting, basically. And he just quit his corporate job in order to live the young LA life. But then we get to know the reasons why he made that decision to quit his corporate job to go stay with youngins, because Dennis is the old guy of the coterie. So we get to understand why he leaves his job to go and stay with young people, because bayang bonke apha. Then we have Gayal, whom I've already introduced. Gayal, he's an artist, or up-and-coming artist, and he is bisexual, and he's the guy basically Kelly hooks up with the first night. And his story is cool as well, and he has a nice storyline where he's very supportive of his transgender sister. And then we also get introduced to the last cast member, or the last main coterie member, who is Davia, who's a plus size Instagram baddie. And so that's basically the cast and the characters, and this show is basically revolved around their stories and revolved around them. Then we have a scene at the coterie where Kelly, okay, as I had mentioned, Kelly is also some sort of, she's a liberal, I mentioned that, and Kelly's story in The Fosters gives us an understanding of who Kelly is. However, it's shown in Good Trouble as well. But Kelly is an ally, and she's an ally in things or topics that have to do with injustice. For example, matters of Black Lives Matter, matters of the LGBTQIA plus community. She's an ally. So we get to the scene where she is watching the news, and there is this young boy, young black boy who was gunned down by the police. And this is going to be very, very crucial in season's 1 story, because this case is going to be a case where she's going to clerk, and the judge is going to get it because it's a different judge. It was a different judge who had this case, but then due to that judge having a heart attack, Callie's boss, the judge that she clerks for, he takes over the case. And this is going to be very important because Malika is an activist, and Malika is doing like a lot of social media for this case. She's going on her social media and she's trying to get people to rally to support the young boy's mother in going to court, having rallies, having, in the whole movement. And she's very like deep within the movement. So this case is going to be very important in Callie's storyline, because part of navigating everything, Kelly is going to realize how much her judge is not actually for the people. As much as he says he's impartial, or as much as he says he's neutral in the matters, Kelly's going to realize that he's not necessarily neutral. He's a old white man, so obviously he's not going to be neutral. But anyway, that is going to be the crux and the hold of Callie's story in season 1. And then for Mariana, her hold on the story is basically navigating the tech world as a woman of color, and she is going to go through a lot of sexism, a lot of racism. For example, one of the guys that she works with keeps calling her Mariana. Like, the microaggressions, guys. I would get so upset watching this. The guy would be like, Mariana, and she would be like, dude, my name is Mariana. Like, it's Mariana, so it's Mariana. She always corrects him, and he goes on calling her Mariana. It's like so annoying. But that is going to be Mariana's storyline, and that is going to be Mariana's focus on how to navigate sexism in the tech world, and also how to navigate relationships in her life. And that's basically the first episode. We get to know the coterie, we get to know Mariana and Callie, and we basically get to understand where the story is going. Now, I want to break down the relationships. I wanted to break down the relationships separately from the whole story. Now that we're done with the first episode, I want to break down the relationships and how well this show portrays navigating relationships in your 20s. We're always gonna have a love triangle in a TV show. One thing about TV shows, especially coming of age, navigating life TV shows, we're gonna have a love triangle child. But this is a love triangle done quite well. We have the love triangle of Callie, Gariel, and Jamie. So Jamie is someone who is basically Callie's brother-in-law, because Jamie's sister marries Callie's brother. And so Jamie and Callie become friends because Jamie is also in LA, and they become friends, but Jamie wants more. And then so it's like a love triangle between Jamie, Gael, and Callie. I personally am team Callie and Gael. I don't know. Comment down below once you've watched the show whom you prefer Callie with Gael, or do you prefer Callie with Jamie? But Jamie man is a Republican, so that turns me off a little bit, because Jamie doesn't understand crucial matters, especially when it comes to injustice. Jamie doesn't understand Callie's stances on things, which is like, because he's a white guy, so you get what I mean. But Callie no Gael, I think they have a more dynamic of passion, like the passionate, whereas Jamie stimulates the like intellectual side of Callie, whereas Gael stimulates the passion, stimulates the steaminess. Ooh, I love Kelly and Gael, but that's Kelly's relationships. Gael, as I said, is bisexual, so basically Kelly is dating. And what I love about this love triangle, it wasn't a love triangle of, oh, so you're with this person, you better choose who you want, girl. Choose, do you want me or do you want him? No, Kelly was like, listen, dudes, I like you both, so I'm going to do what I want with both of y'all. If you guys want me to make some sort of decision, you'll just have to deal, because I'm not about to do that. I am going to date and basically deal with it. That's what I love about it. But they show, but you don't have to be umdo chuzayo, because even Gael, as much as he's got his thing with Kelly, but he's also got a thing with this guy whom he becomes a boyfriend. Yeah, okay. Eventually, like it's like a drama series. Like in the midst of the drama, Gael ends up being in a relationship with this guy he's hooking up with. But as I said, they are dating. And then on Mariana's side, Mariana dates this guy called Raj, but this is only in the second season. In the first season, Mariana is basically dating and navigating. She even has a threesome, guys, which is so cool, because she just has it and then it's done and it's not made a big deal about. And so she navigates, and she also has like some feelings for her boss. She actually gets in trouble for approaching her boss. She actually gets in trouble for approaching her boss and for pitching an idea. She also has some weird feelings for her boss, and it just plays out. I ship Mariana and Evan, which is her boss. I shipped them from their first scene together, where Mariana meets him in the elevator and says she has an idea.
Excuse me, Mr. Speck?
Yes?
I'm Mariana Adams Foster. I'm a new software engineer here, and I don't mean to ambush you or anything, but I have this idea for an app that I would love to run by you.
I ship them from get-go. I prefer Mariana and Evan over Mariana and Raj. The reason I don't like Raj is very insecure. You'll notice that Raj is a very insecure person. Raj is very insecure, and Ananamagas tembanga or what, but he's super insecure about things, and he transfers his insecurities to Mariana as if like Mariana is supposed to sort his insecurities out. Child, please. And then Malika, love Malika's pure black love. Malika with Isaac is just like pure black love. It's pure goodness. They are a legend. They are an icon. They are the moment now. Come on now, sweetie.
She's got a point. She's an icon. She's a legend, and she is the moment. Now, come on now.
That is just like pure black love. Malika and Isaac, they are pure love, pure black couple. Well, Alice has a girlfriend. She's dating Joey, and Joey at first identifies as a girl, and she identified as she pronouns, but then she has her own journey, and she ends up identifying as non-binary, so she ends up using they them pronouns. And now Alice needs to navigate that space as well. And but Alice is not out to her parents, so Alice has to navigate her gayness. She has to navigate her lesbianness. She has to navigate being with someone who's non-binary, and it's actually quite cool. And then Dennis and Davia kind of have some sort of a thing, but it only develops in, I think, the second season. Yes, I think it only develops in the second season, but they're doing their own thing in terms of relationships. Like Davia is with this married guy even. And like Davia is a plus size queen. So basically it shows us the story of how as a plus size girl you accept the bare minimum because of feeling undesirable, like desirability issues and stuff like that. Those are the relationships within the show. And then finally, I just want to give a final review on the full series and what I think about it. So I love the show. I definitely give it a 9 out of 10 in terms of binging. I am certain, let me just check. I'm certain even critics love the show. IMDb, they have a 7.5 out of 10. On Watchlist, they have an 8 out of 10. Let me see, Rotten Tomatoes, season 1 has an audience score of 79%. Season 2 has an audience score of 83%, and it's currently on season 3, so I don't have a full on score on that front, but critically it is loved, even by me. I love it. I feel like, you know how shows like to highlight diversity and they like to highlight inclusivity, but sometimes you're like, okay, you're inclusive, you're diverse, but there's some problem areas here or there. I really feel like, I don't know, I could be wrong, you could correct me in my comments, but I really feel like this cast did inclusivity and did diversity right. They did inclusivity and diversity very well. First of all, the main cast is diverse, and the minority of the cast do not play side characters to drive and highlight the main characters. Like, do you know how in shows where if you have a black person, that black person there is only for the plot of the main white counterpart, is really there only for the plot of the main counterpart? Not with the show. We have Latinx, because Gael is also Latina. We have Latinx representation, we've got black representation, we've got Asian representation, we've got plus size representation, we've got trans representation, we've got the LGBTQ plus community representation, and it's representation and inclusivity that I believe is done well. Part of the storyline, we have a Black Lives Matter storyline that is done properly and is done from different perspectives. We've got a white fragility storyline from Davia's perspective. Davia goes through some deep white fragile white woman tears situations up in there. So it's stuff like that I love about the show, because like even in the Black Lives Matter storyline where the boy is gunned down by the police, Malika, she joins Black Lives Matter, the organization, and I do know that the directors and the showrunners of the show actually consult with the Black Lives Matter organization. I think the head of the Black Lives Matter organization, she actually produces some episodes that highlight Black Lives Matter, and they consult with the right people for the story. There's spectrum representation. We have Evan, who is Mariana's boss that I told you about. Evan is on the spectrum. When he was a child, he was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. Evan is on the spectrum, and it basically shows how he also navigates trying to find relationships, trying to be in a relationship as someone who is on the spectrum, and we just get like pure goodness. We just get, this is like a good TV show, guys. Got all sorts of representation, and it's representation done well. Could they improve? Yes, they could definitely improve, but improving from this formula that they currently have will be great. It will take things to another level. So if you are looking for a show that has a diverse cast, that is inclusive of a lot of communities out there, that is good, that is everything and more, I definitely think that this show is a show for you. I love the show. This is the one, guys. I really believe that you should be watching this. It is on Hulu. I don't watch it on Hulu, but It is on Hulu. You can watch it on Hulu. You can subscribe to Hulu and you can watch it on there. It currently has 3 seasons, but season 3 is still ongoing. It is on a production break currently, and it's coming back I think on the 14th of July. I definitely suggest that you should watch this TV show because it is the one. It is a show. I'm so glad I discovered it. I do not know how I even discovered it. I don't know, something in me, I've always been curious to watch The Fosters. So after watching The Fosters and finding out there's actually a spin-off TV show after The Fosters, I was like, yes, I'm for that. I would definitely jump up in there. So definitely think you guys should watch this show, guys. And that is basically my Beauty and the Binge review for Good Trouble. Guys, so something I forgot to mention is also I love the way in which the series is directed. You'll notice in the episodes it always goes into the future at first, and then when the episode starts after this title sequence, it takes us back to how we got to that moment in the future. Very How to Get Away with Murder-esque, like something like that. Shout out to Zukanye for telling me the difference between producing and directing, because I needed to get an idea on what element it is that makes the TV show go like that, and it's definitely directing. So the directing of the TV show is absolutely amazing. The acting is also good, so I would definitely recommend that you watch Good Trouble Child. And that is my Beauty and the Binge, guys. So this is my final look. I'm channeling very Mariana-esque. It's a very Mariana-esque look because Mariana always has, because of the industry she's in, she always just has a simple look, just wing liner, red lip, and looking gorgeous. And that's basically what I'm channeling. And what I'm wearing today is jeans and a crop top, because that is definitely what Mariana would be wearing at work, because it's a very relaxed environment. You don't wear professional attire, it's a tech industry, so she's always wearing a jean and a crop top. So I'm wearing a crop top with a jeans, just looking gorge, and I'm giving Mariana energy, child. I'm bubbling up, and this is my final look. This is the Beauty and the Binge. Definitely check Good Trouble out. I would definitely recommend that you watch the show. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel, guys. If you like this video, please like this video, and please not leave without subscribing, pressing that notification bell, and getting notified every time I upload a video. If you want me to rate or review a TV show that you have watched and you think I haven't watched, you can definitely suggest so in the comments down below. Also, tell me what else you would like for me to review. I think the next review I'm going to be doing will be Fate the Wing Saga, so look out for that coming soon. But thank you so much for tuning into my channel, guys. Until next time, toodles.